Back right here to the news, and our conversation centered around the alleged certificate forgery and pressure mounting on the Science Minister Nnaji to resign. Well, according to reports, pressure is mounting on the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Uche Nnaji, to resign from his cabinet position over an alleged certificate forgery. Well, two prominent civil society organizations, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, and Transparency International Nigeria, have called on Minister Nnaji, who's involved in the certificate scandal, to resign and apologize to the nation. Raf Sanjani observed that the minister has not resigned because he's close to the president. He, however, insisted that leaders must lead by example. Joining me now to discuss this is Dr. Sebastian Chukwuebuka Okafor, who's a public affairs analyst and, of course, an educationist. Good evening, Sebastian, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, amazing.
Congratulations on your PhD.
You're welcome.
Is that in any way in contest?
No.
Does anyone
It's
contest
original.
that?
Very, very original.
Okay.
With dates.
Great.
And the classmates.
And you have your classmates,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So let's talk about this saga. All of a sudden, there's this, certificate thing, and it first started with the Premium Times digging out, that investigative report about Minister Nnaji. And for those of you who do not know him, he's the Minister of Science and Technology, and of course, one of the ministers from Enugu State, who's also an APC member. So, what was the feeling for you when you heard that? Did you know all the
I wasn't surprised. When I had the information, let me be honest, because this is a national TV.
Right.
I wasn't surprised because for you to be surprised, it means you don't know the person that they are talking about. When you check the track record of somebody, initially the issue was raised in 2021 when I was the secretary of APC in Enugu North local government, when he came from nowhere. Heading and claimed he was heading to somewhere and still brought the party back to nowhere. And we raised the issue, but we were sidelined. And the man took over the party, and we left the party for him. So we first of all discovered the scandal initially in 2021 when he and his group came and took over the party. So when the issue came up again prior to the 2023 general election, I wasn't surprised, but I decided to keep calm. Because personally, it's none of my business. But now that he has become a minister, it is now a national business. So I wasn't surprised, personally. I wasn't surprised.
Okay. So, well, we're talking about this now. And of course, there are other reports that have come up. And he had a press conference today with his spokesperson saying, well, that it's all false. And the UNN has come to say, well, he doesn't have his certificate with us. How deep is this issue?
What Dr. Robert did today is what I would call tyranny of a shocked minority. In the sense that if you look at the press briefing, you see that thing was watery. It had no substance. So was he talking to kids or kindergarten people over what was clear? Now, we have an issue on the ground. And what's the issue? The issue, according to Premium Times, emanated from a 34-page affidavit, which the minister filed in the Federal High Court, in the Federal High Court, Abuja, being presided over currently by Justice Yeoman, where in paragraph 12 and 13, he said that the University of Nigeria and Soka did not give him any certificate. If you go through the record of proceedings, you see it there. So if someone can come out to say that, now let's analyze the press statement. Why didn't the minister appear? When it was the time of Dino Melaye did everything to prove beyond reasonable doubt that what was said were all lies. Melaye went there, even came to the school with camera to prove himself. Why was he afraid of appearing and having a one-on-one interaction with the media? Because he knew that he has been caught. And as an honorable minister, what you should have done is to if I were him, I'll start packing my luggages. Now, let's look at the issue on ground. So initially, when we raised the issue in 2021, as the progressives in APC Enugu State, it was taken as a witch hunt. We kept quiet. Labour Party people raised the issue again in 2023, likewise PDP. The issue, they now went, I don't know what they did, and they brought a letter saying it came from UNN. And people said, classmates were like, this guy did not graduate. I personally, I have my own track record. I wrote my primary school certificate, primary school certificate exam in 2025 at Union Central School in Hamufu.
2025?
I mean 2005
right.
at Union Primary School in Hamufu. Union Central School in Hamufu. In 2011, I wrote my WAEC at National Grammar School in Ike. In 2018, I did my first degree, BSc Mass Communication at ESUT. 2021, 2022, I finished my master's. 2025, I finished my PhD. Those records are there. And I have my transcripts. Now, coming down to the minister. Now, a look at the document he submitted to the National Assembly during his screening. You now discover that he claimed to have graduated sometime around July 1985. He claimed to have graduated sometime around July 1985. Now, moving further, you will find a document where the school wrote to him on the 8th of November 1985, telling him that he failed an exam that he recited, that he should apply during the next section so as to graduate. Then on the 3rd of January 1986, he replied the letter, which was received and needed on the 9th of January. The records are there. So how come did he graduate in 1985? And I thank University of Nigeria and Soccer for coming out to say, actually he was admitted in 1981. No doubt about it. Was he a student? Yes, he was a student. Did he graduate? No. So if he graduated, that means it wasn't in 1985.
So, but my question is, what's the big deal? If you had, you had so much and you could get into a school, why didn't you as much as graduate? Because even if you have a carryover, we know these issues happen. So why didn't you receipt your carryover and then graduate?
And the
but of course, I'm also going to blame you party people, because you guys have known all this while. And
I was a party person. I was a party person.
Right.
I was. That was in the past. I'm no longer playing politics. I'm now a social commentator.
Okay,
and
but
a journalist.
do you admit that all of that sweeping under the carpet has brought us to where we are today?
There is in mass communication, there is what is known as the spiral of silence. Spiral of silence theory. So when you raise an issue and you have the minority voice, the bandwagon will swallow you. The bandwagon effect will swallow you. So what do? You just keep calm. So now, outside that, you don't need to blame people who don't have access to a platform where their opinion can be heard, or have access to people whose opinion matters. You understand? So, but the fact remains that the university wrote to him to come and write virology. The documents are there. To come and write virology in November, 8th of November 1985. Your certificate claims that you graduated in July 1985. Now, whereas the National Youth Service Corps certificate, NYS certificate, that he submitted was claiming that he started his service in April. In April. So that means, judging by the information presented, both the fake certificate and fake, he was not even, the person who did that wasn't even innovative in the forgery. Because for you to be a good forger, you must be innovative. So now, if you check the document presented to the National Assembly, you will see that he started service in April, assuming that document that is everywhere now, based on the document available, which he did not deny. If you go through the press conference, he didn't deny the fact that the document that is in circulation wasn't from him. So going by that, how can somebody start youth service in April 1985, whereas the certificate he claims to have said he graduated in July? So April, May, June, July. So he started service 3 months before his graduation. But even this one is even clear to the blind. Aside, so you see, when you talk about innovation, the person that did it wasn't even innovative. Because for you to be able to maneuver, you must have certain skills that will now enable you to maneuver. But that wasn't so. Both the forger, the forgery, the forgee, all of them, they need to answer for it.
But so I'm really curious at why the minister is also pointing accusing fingers at the UNN Vice Chancellor and saying that this is politically motivated. I mean, like, what does it take for people in Nigeria to really own up to their, misgivings and then say, well, I don't think I deserve to be in this position and maybe I just resign? People are calling for his resignation. And if he's a Minister of Science and Technology and Innovation in Nigeria and doesn't have a certificate, what does that tell of us?
I think the question is now left for Nigerians and the international community to answer. For security reasons, there are certain things that I cannot say here. But the fact remains the fact. Why will you accuse the Vice Chancellor? This is a man who claimed, and his group, let me tell you, his group, 2 weeks ago, claimed that I have a fake MSc and fake PhD. Something that is verifiable. I kept mute. I said, okay, no problem. Then they also claimed that the former state chairman of APC and the leader of the progressives in Enugu state, Dr. Benue, had fake PhD and they made all the grammars. They understand how to use artificial intelligence to coin lies. Personally, I kept quiet, not knowing that their Oga is even the master of uninnovative forgery, based on the fact. Now, going by the press statement, the press conference organized by the spokesperson, who, as I'm talking to you now, occupies 2 positions. He has a board appointment and he also a spokesperson. But that's is the story from that.
He has what?
He has a board appointment.
Oh, I see.
Yes, a board appointment, and he's acting. And I've gone through the internet. I didn't see any appointment, any official document saying that he has been appointed as the spokesperson for the minister, except today. He's my friend and my former boss, in the sense that based on the party politics then,
right.
Yes, I love his intelligence, but I don't know, maybe the shock took away some certain things from their cerebrum and cerebrum. However, now going by the press statement, none of them address the affidavit filed by the minister in the Federal High Court. It wasn't addressed. And going by that, if you go through the document, you will see, just go to the Federal High Court, get court record of proceedings, you will see it there. The 34 paragraph affidavit where he filed for order of mandam, so on and so forth, under ex parte motion for the court to grant to tell UNN to give him transcripts and also not to disclose certain information about himself. So why didn't the minister address the issue? Why didn't he address, or could it be that maybe but the profile of the lawyer is SAN. So I wouldn't say the lawyer. So maybe they didn't know that this issue would be like this. Now, what we should be talking about is who paid the first person that issued a document confirming that somebody who did not graduated. That should be the cocoa. It should be the center point. Was the person paid? So if we're able to answer this question, we can now...
And how come he's just been going about with just a letter all of these years? There's not even a statement of results.
See, let me tell you, we have a lot of political leaders across both political, religious, and other leaders. Some directors, some top people in both the military and paramilitary who parade fake certificates. We have a lot of them now. If you begin to make inquiries, and that calls for journalists, investigative journalists, to start looking into all these issues.
Right.
Now, this thing happened 41 years ago. Somebody was admitted in 1981. It's 40-something years ago. And somebody like me now, I am in my mid-30s, in my early 30s, I mean. So somebody who is in his early 30s is hearing this type of story. What do you want me to believe? Or what do you think I should tell my children? It's wrong. Now, based on the letter, coming back to the letter, the school asked him to pay 4 naira to receipt an exam. Though assuming those letters did not appear, that the letters did not appear, what about the document that you presented? Why didn't he address the issue? One, he did not address the discrepancies in the documents presented. He did not address the affidavit filed in the court of law. He also did not provide clear-cut evidence that somebody's hand, maybe you have a third party who is doing that. Then even if a third party is doing that, you played into the person's trap. Because maybe you are aspiring. I heard he wants to contest for governorship. I don't know. I'm just hearing it today. I don't know whether he's contesting for anything or not. But if you know you have an ambition, you have to come clean. But I know that with what is happening, it's expected that the presidency should act like what Buhari did with Kemi Adeosun. You have to step aside, pending when all these issues are over. You can now begin to, because heads, a lot of people will be indicted.
But of course, the president's certificate is still under scrutiny.
He has proven
and
that.
Course,
that one is left for him and Chicago.
Yeah, but a lot of people also wondering why the presidency is quiet. It's taken some hours and some days of this issue being trending on the mainstream media, and all we hear is that everything is false and nobody's saying anything from the presidency.
Maybe the president,
is it because it's the same party?
I'm not the president, neither am I the presidency. So it's now left for them. But Nigerians are watching. It's very, very wrong to set a bad precedent, because we should also look at the future. When you set that wrong precedent, we'll capitalize on that and tell you that since it has become a norm, let it be a law. So, but let me be honest with you. I am highly flabbergasted with what is happening. Initially, when I read the Premium Times report, I laughed, because it now remembered what we wanted to do in 2021, but we were sidelined. So it's now left for Nigerians the law. The matter is already in the court. So there are certain issues or dimension that you don't need to take, pending when the court decides. But however, since he claimed that the matter is already in, and he came to address the press, so based on the address that he made earlier today, I can now say I have an opinion. However, let the minister address the issues that I raised. He can also come and cry like others. I'm sorry. Or for him to, you can just resign honorably, or come cry like others. Nigerians, we are very, very pitiful. We can forgive him and move on. But should he have any ambition in the state, that one is a no-go area. Because somebody without certificate, we don't know. Now, aside that, let's look at the documents presented to INEC and the one presented to the National Assembly. It also raised questions. One, why didn't he submit degree and NYSC during the contest when he contested? Secondly, what did the National Assembly actually do with the document presented? Does it mean that when a person is being nominated, as they claim, that they do background check? What about the security agency, DSS, that they would say this person currently they claim that they are running background check on ambassadorial nominees? So why didn't they run a background check? Or could it be that somebody did that and it was kept somewhere? These are issues that we have to raise. But on the side of the minister,
or maybe submitted, because he's a party man, it was just swept.
I don't want to believe it has to do with party, because we have a lot of LP members, we have a lot of PDP members, and other people from the opposition political parties also in the National Assembly.
How strong is the opposition in the National Assembly? We've always said the National Assembly seems to be like a rubber stamp. So how strong is the National Assembly when the Senate president will allow for the song "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand" to be sang in the Parliament? So how strong is the National Assembly?
That is their legislative business.
It's part of it.
It's their legislative business.
So, but of course, it is what it is. So of course, we'll have to stop the conversation here. And thank you for coming along. I would look towards the developing parts of the story.
But I have one or few words
just
for
quickly,
Nigerians.
because my producer says it's time up.
Nigerians, you can see, especially young persons, you can see the type of leaders that we have. People with questionable character. People that cannot even be innovative when they want to forge. It's high time we come together, young persons, to champion a cause, because 2027 is very close. We, the youth, can take part in order to take charge. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much for that. And just before we go, here's a reminder of the top stories. Minister Nnaji has denied forgery allegations. Meanwhile, Tinubu has returned to Abuja after a 10-day visit to Lagos. On the business news for tonight, Vice President Shetima's called for industrial harmony. And on the foreign news, US has lifted sanctions on Paraguay's ex-president Cates. That's all we have for you tonight on Afia TV News. Do follow us on all our social media handles at Afia TV Official. And on behalf of the entire production team, I am Amazing Grace Ajayi. Thank you so much for watching and good night.